Hi, my name is Chrissy, and I'm on a cancer journey. I thought I'd just make this video, or maybe start making videos, so that I can maybe be of help to someone like I was before I had any of my treatments or stuff like that, because I was constantly looking for not not just information, but I wanted to talk to somebody who's been through it, like radiation, for instance. I just finished up my radiation, and it wasn't so bad. Anyway, let me start from the beginning. My name is Chrissy. I'm between 50 and 60. I don't like saying my age. I was a chef all my life. I guess I still am, because it's kind of hard to forget stuff like that. In May 2022, I was planning on going on a trip to Latvia. I spent 13 years living in Latvia from 96, whatever 13 plus, whatever that is, plus 13. Oh, 2000, February 2009. And when I left because I'd lost everything. I lost my business, was about to lose my house. Because I left, I lost all those very close ties to people that I almost considered family. Well, that I did consider family. And so my trip back was going to be my first trip back to Latvia, and I was going to surprise the boy and his father. And the boy's name is Martis. He is now in Germany, a doctor, and wants to be a surgeon. He's doing his internship, I think. I get all confused about all that stuff. Anyway, he followed his dreams and he ended up in Germany, and now he's a doctor. So when I don't understand something lately, I will either copy or just tell him about, things that have happened and see what his opinion is. His sister, the one who couldn't learn a language to save her life while she was in high school, spent a few years in Japan studying fine art, where the house language was English, I think, but they all were learning to speak Japanese. She lives in Latvia, so she speaks Latvian, and I think somehow she ended up picking up Russian. But that's a longer story. One day when I feel like I got nothing better to do, I'll tell it. So I was going to go back and surprise Martis on his birthday, which was May 21st. Yeah. And his brother and his brothers and his uncle, because I went out with his uncle for a while. I worked with his dad, and we all became extremely good friends, and I kind of became part of the family. So dad's name is Norm. Mom's name is Inara. Uncle's name is Ziggy. And that's just a little introduction. So somewhere, I guess at the end of April or beginning of May in 2002, I went to a gynecologist to see if I had any STDs. Just kind of, like a checkup kind of thing. And doctor made an appointment, went back, and she said, "You've got no STDs, but you might have cancer. So we got to test you. We need to do a biopsy, and that'll happen at the hospital." So this is during COVID. So every time I needed to go somewhere, I had to go to Stratford, somewhere in the middle of nowhere, to get tested for COVID, which was always negative. um, it was such a pain at that time. Anyway, so I get tested for COVID. I'm all good. I go to the hospital. She takes a biopsy. And I was one day driving around doing errands. It was a beautiful day. And I see that it's my doctor calling. And so I answer. And she says, I'm sorry that I caught you in the car, but I just wanted to let you know that you are positive for cancer. Yay! In your uterus. So I flipped. All I remember is just kind of driving around and then pulling over at one point because I had been talking to Inada already about this trip and how we were going to pull off the surprise because I really wanted to surprise them. So I pulled over somewhere and I called Inada and I said, turns out I got cancer. And she says, shit. Well, she didn't say shit, but kind of something like that. Because now my trip is not going to happen and we don't get to surprise the boys. That was what I was most looking forward to. But we talked a lot, and she said she had uterine cancer as well, but she got over it just by taking the pills. Now, what that means, I'm not really sure. At the time, I had no clue, so I didn't ask what kind of pills or what was it or whatever. And then, sat there crying for a bit, went home, cried some more, hugged my dog, cried some more. Dog's name is Izzy. Yeah, there she is. She just heard her name. She's going, oh, what's Mommy talking about? And then I wrote this thing. My dream, like as I'm planning the trip, like, I don't know about you, but I love to travel. So I always have like the actual trip and then the dream trip. And the dream trip was to get a motorcycle. Now, I had some money stashed away somewhere where I could have bought a motorcycle, a used one, and ride from, where did I live at the time? I was in Brussels at the time, Brussels, Ontario. Yeah, not the real Brussels, but a little Brussels. Ride from there to the Canadian coast and get on a ship. And I was looking into it, and I wanted to get on a cargo ship and sail the ocean blue across to Europe. And what I had read about the cargo ship ride is that you could get off wherever you wanted. So, before we get there, I'd ask, where are you stopping? And then get off. Well, so that didn't happen. So I wrote a letter and said that this is my dream trip. And I asked for donations. The trip never turned out. Few people donated, which I'm very grateful for because at the time I could really use the money because now all this cancer stuff is starting. Anyway, I sent out this letter, and a very good friend of mine who also lived in Latvia, we were in Latvia together about 10 years. And she left a little bit a few years before I did. She met her soulmate when she was living in Fairbanks, and they got married, and she stayed in the States after that. So I hadn't seen her for a few years, but we kept in touch, of course. And her name is Tia, and she received my letter, and right away she called me, and she said, Chris, are you okay? And I said, not really. She said, well, yeah, I kind of get that from your letter. And then she said, she knows me so well. Then she said, are you alone? I said, yeah. She said, I thought so. I said, what do you mean? Well, by your letter. Because that wouldn't have happened if you had somebody with you. Anyway, I didn't want to be a crybaby about this, but whatever. So yeah, so that happened. And so my doctor called, or I called her back or something, and we made an appointment for me to go see her. And I go to see her, and she sits me down, and she's like, it's stage 1, so we caught it early. You're in good hands. You know, don't worry. This isn't the kind of cancer that is rapid. It's not really the kind of cancer that kills, because it's usually found in time, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So basically, I had cancer without a death sentence. Like it wasn't pancreatic or something where I'm going to die in like a week. So, so she says to me, I'm going to send you to an oncologist that works out of the London Victoria Hospital, who was her teacher. And she says he loves a good challenge. Well, the challenge was because I also have 2 hernias, that one of which was right on top of the cancer. And so I asked, and she also offered, that the cancer and the hernia could get taken care of at the same time. So therefore, she says, I'm going to send you to Dr. Sujimoto in London, and he likes a good oh, this is what's wrong with me. I can't remember things every once in a while. He likes a good challenge. There you go. Sometimes words fall out of my head. So, Dr. Sujimoto it is. So at first, my sister was coming with me to my appointments, and she was with me to see Dr. Sujimoto, and it's May, so it's like summer. At least to me it is. It's sunny all day, so I'm sitting out getting suntan, so I'm wearing shorts. We get there, and he's like, he's great. You couldn't ask for a better doctor. He listens. He's there. He's present. I love him to death. The first thing he says is, you're wearing shorts. Is it really that warm outside? I'm like, I don't know. I've been suntanning, so it's shorts weather. Anyway, he's got a great sense of humor, I have to say. He makes you feel really good. And he listens, and he responds. So that'll come to play later. Anyway, so we talk, and he now has the report, and he says, he just repeats what the gynecologist said, and he said, we're going to have to operate and give you a hysterectomy, and we'll fix the hernia at the same time. And I'm like, yay! Well, that was a conversation. Real life was different. So, to complicate things, of course, I have colitis. I've had it since I was 14. It was diagnosed sometime in my early 20s, like before 25. And when it was finally diagnosed, I was really happy because I knew what was wrong with me. Well, at the time, it was just a diarrhea disease. Turns out it's a lot more complicated than that. Complications of ulcerative colitis are millions and always a pain in the ass. One of which is pyoderma gangrenosum. And if you want to Google it, go ahead. It's a pain in the ass. I had it on my legs. about maybe 5 years ago now. And it took a full year of going to the Lynn or the nursing station or whatever you want to call it in Burlington, at least once a week, if not twice or 3 times a week, so that they could bandage my legs and take care of the wounds. The wounds were not healing whatsoever. We were just bandaging them to make it sterile. Anyway, so I was going there. Made great friends with all the nurses there. We had lots of fun for a year. And then finally one day it just went away. Nothing we did, really. And that was that. A few years later, I went to Barbados. And I was there for a while. And I had no pyoderma on my legs, but I was scarred. When I went to Barbados, all the scars went away. I got the hair back on my legs, like that had gone away. Scars take the hair away, whatever. That grew back. I was elated. And then, I guess, the cancer news at the time. I was also, the week that I found out that I had cancer, I was moving from Brussels to Tavistock, which was a great thing. Yeah, I was a mess. I was a mess. And my sister was just like, don't worry, we'll take care of this. We will help you. So I move. It's kind of difficult, but I have to say I moved to probably the best place that I could ask for right now. We have a beautiful big backyard. Everybody's got a dog. All the dogs love each other and love to play. My 2 neighbors, like on my both sides, are wonderful people. Actually, pretty much everybody in the building is wonderful. Everybody kind of looks out for one another, and helps each other, if need be. My good friend Ingo, he's friends from a long, long time ago. He lives in Toronto. Poor soul. And he's always bitching that I never come to the city anymore. Well, so one of my friends here in the building just the other day is like, she needs to get to Toronto for some kind of appointments. And I said, well, I could kill 2 birds with 1 stone, help Brooklyn get to Toronto and go see Ingo, and we'll all be happy. So that's the kind of stuff we do here. Or somebody needed to go pick up their meds in Stratford. I said, go ahead, borrow my car. And then I needed a ride somewhere, so that guy then drove me wherever I had to go. So that's kind of like what we're about here. Anyway, yeah, it's really nice moving in here. I mean, being here, moving in, not so much. Really kind of sucked. I still really don't feel moved in, but that's besides the point. I've got other things to think about now. But it's nice. I think it's a blessing that I'm here, and that London is my cancer place, or London is where my doctors are, and